Hello, everyone. I'm Michelle Solis from This Must Be Ink. Welcome to episode 2 of my Stamp and Flip One Sheet Wonder workshop. This month, we'll be creating 10 cards from our one sheet of 12 by 12 designer series paper. So hopefully you have, if you want to craft along, hopefully you've printed the PDF template that was on my Facebook page. But what you're going to need tonight is one 12 by 12 piece of designer series paper. You're going to need 5 card bases that coordinate with each side of the paper that you've picked. You'll need a variety of sentiment labels. Hi, Carol. And you'll need some mats to go around your designer series paper if you want them. Hi, Maria. We are going to discuss tonight how to cut mats for the front of your cards. And I'm going to show you some samples of the cards with and without mats. Okay, so let me see here. Here we go. Welcome, everybody. All right, so while I get settled here, let me get this camera in the right position, hopefully. All right, so I can't wait to see what designer series paper you guys picked for this tonight. I am using an old pack of designer series paper called, I want to call it Free as a Bird. Bird Ballad. I don't think I ever actually knew the name of this paper. I think I've been calling it Free as a Bird the entire time I had it. Bird Ballad Designer Series paper is what I'm using. It's one of my favorite packs of paper, and I think it's from 3 or 4 years ago, actually. But it's really pretty. So whatever you chose, I'm going to show you guys how to cut the paper to the template that I created, and then we'll talk about how to create the cards. Hi, Sharon. Okay, so let's go back down here. All right, this is the piece of designer series paper that I'm going to be using tonight. And this is the template that I created. So this is what we will do with our designer series paper is we're going to cut it in half. And then we're going to, don't cut anything yet. We're going to use one side of the paper to make 5 cards. And then we're going to flip over the other side. And we'll make 5 cards with the other side of the paper. Okay. So this is the template. This is essentially going to be a 6 inches across and 12 inches long. So you're going to have a strip here that we're going to cut off that's 1 inch. And then you're going to have some other strips that are going to go this way. So the trick on this template is if you want to create landscape cards, you're going to cut your paper with the pattern the correct way, so portrait. If you want to create cards portrait style, you're going to need to turn your paper. Okay, so that's the tricky part of this this template. Sorry that I made it tricky at all. I really didn't think about it because I used some paper that was an all over pattern and it didn't matter which way I cut the paper the first time. But now I've got a pattern that is obviously directional, so we have to think about that. Okay, so I don't know if you can see this while I move that up. Maybe you can see it while I'm cutting. We're going to try to put that right here so you can still see it. Okay, so what I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to be making some portrait cards. So what we will do is we will turn our paper. So to cut it in half, we're going to turn it so that the pattern is going landscape. Right? No, not landscape. Pattern's going this way. So your top of your paper is on the left-hand side. Okay, so you're going to cut that in half. So we're going to cut this 12 by 12 at 6 inches. And now you're going to have 2 pieces. You're going to cut this one with one side of your paper, and then you're going to flip it over and you're going to cut the other side. Okay, so we're going to do the one with the pattern first. So this is showing us that we've got this 1-inch strip that we're going to cut off here. So we're going to bring this at 1 inch, and we're going to cut that strip off. And then that strip is going to be cut at 5 inches and 5 inches. So we're going to turn that. We're going to go 5 inches and then 5 inches again. And so we're going to have this little piece left over that you could create a little tag with if you wanted to. But I'm okay to throw this size piece away. So that's what I'm going to do. So now you're going to have your 2 5 by 1 inch strips. Okay, we're going to set those aside. Now you'll have this part of the paper. So we're going to cut this. It's going to be 5 inches. We're going to cut this at 1 3/4. So we'll put this in 1 3/4. Then you're going to have a second piece that's 1 3/4. Then your next piece will be 2 inches. Let's set these over here. So we'll cut this at 2 inches. Your next piece will be 2 3/4 inches. Which is going to leave you a piece that's 5 by 3 3/4. Okay? So we're going to set now our template aside. And let me show you. Everything falls down as soon as I move one thing, everything falls down. All right, let me show you the cards that I created. All right. So these are the cards that I created that do not have a mat. So this was the 5 3/3, 5 by 3 3/4 piece, just mounted on the front of the card. And this was your two smaller pieces that were 1 3/4 by 5, and they're upside down, side by side. So you'll just go side by side like that. Okay. And this one is the 2-inch, 5 by 2 inch piece that I created a banner and then put a sentiment there. Why do I look like I have, oh, I forgot my strips. That's what it was. I got panicked there. I was like, why am I missing a piece? Okay, then this one, this is your 5 by 2 3/4 piece. And what I did was I cut it in half for this card, or you could certainly leave it all one piece. So you have some options there with that one. And then this card, I made landscape with the 2 strips that are 1 inch by 5 inches. So you would put those on your card like this. Okay, so those are the cards that I created, that do not have mats. Now let's look at some that do have mats. So these are the ones that are going portrait. So this one is using the 5 by 3 3/4 inch piece. Hey, Julie. And this one has a mat behind it with the sentiment. Again, this is the 2 1 3/4 by 5 pieces with a mat. This is the one I did with the banner and with a mat. And this one, I didn't cut this piece in half this time. I used it as a full piece on top of a mat. And then this one was your 2 strips that I did at the bottom of the card this time. And with your mat, you can put your sentiment right here. Okay, so those are the 2 sets of cards that I created. Tonight, we're going to do a set that's going to have a mat, so we can talk about cutting mats for your cards. Okay, so you're going to have 5 card bases to go with this side of the paper. So I'm using basic gray. I've got 4 card bases. Where's my last one? Do I need to make another one? Apparently I do. Oh no, I've got one. I just never scored it. So let's score this. Okay. And then we will talk about mats. So your card base is typically going to be 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So when you create a mat for your card, you're going to want your mat to be smaller than your card base. Typically, I think most people use a 1/4 inch difference. So your mats will be 4 by 5 1/4. Some people may use an 1/8 of an inch difference. I think when you're starting out making cards, a 1/4 of an inch is a good border. It's much easier to line up. So I would start with that. So I'm going to show you tonight how to cut the mat for your card. You will take whatever color you're using. I'm going to just use white tonight, basic white. And it's very similar to cutting a card base. You're going to put your 8 1/2 by 11 piece of paper into the trimmer with the 11-inch side to the top of your trimmer. And you're going to cut that at 4 1/4. So your mat will be 4 1/4. I'm sorry, 5 1/4. So we're at 5 1/4. And then we're going to cut this other piece 5 1/4. Okay. Then we will turn them so the 8 1/2 inch side is to the top of your trimmer, and you'll cut them to 4. So 4 inches. And then the second one at 4 inches. And then you'll do the second piece. So you will get 4 mats out of 1 piece of 8 1/2 by 11 piece of paper. Okay, so you should have 4 when you're done. And also what you will have are these little 1/4 inch pieces that actually 1/2 inch pieces. Yeah, 1/2 inch pieces that you have cut off all of the sides. And these are perfect for creating sentiments. So these are great little sentiment labels. You can stamp on here and then trim them, and that makes a nice little sentiment label. So hang on to some of those. Not all, just some. I tend to hoard those, so I have a big collection. All right, so we're going to start with our first card, which is using the piece that is 5 inches by 3 3/4. We're going to put that onto a mat. And what I typically do when I'm doing a one-sheet wonder is I typically glue it all together, and then I go back and do my sentiments for everything. So this is going to go straight onto the card front. And you're just going to line that up so that you have a pretty even border all the way around. Isn't that a beautiful little card? The paper does all the work for you. Okay, so we'll get the second card base, and we've got a second mat. And this one, let me show you. So we did that one. This one is going to use these 2 strips that are 1 3/4 by 5. And we're going to put those next to each other. Then we just have to decide which way we like it. Do we want it this way or do we want it this way? I should have paid more attention. But even so, because the birds are spaced out on this paper, they would not have lined up properly. Okay, I like it like that. Actually, this does line up, doesn't it? Look, the little twigs. Yep, that works. Okay, so we're going to line these up. And what I will do with these is space these from the edge. So you want you can see how long they are. They're 5 inches long. So if you put it down, you want the same type of space here at the bottom and top of your card that you do on the side. So you want it to look very uniform. So we'll space that out like that. So we leave ourselves a border here. And then we will just match that up with this one on the other side. I tend to turn it. I think it's easier for me to align them when they're going horizontal as opposed to going up and down. I don't know why I can't get things straight when I do it that way. I like it better this way. So there's that one. We'll put that onto our card base. Hi, Maria. So there's this one. Okay, we'll set this one aside. The third one is, no, that's the last one. The third one is this one. The third one is this piece, which is 5 by 2 3/4. Nope, 5 by 2. Oh, yep, 5 by 2. So it's skinnier than the 5 by 2 3/4. So it's this one. We're going to create a banner end for this. So we're going to take our snips, and to create a banner end, you're going to eyeball where the middle is here on your paper, and you will cut straight up, not too far. Just make a slit right there. And then you'll take your scissors, and you're going to go from this little point in to meet that cut there. So you kind of line up, get your corner, line up your scissors, and go straight to that little, well, if I could see it, it would be great. There we go. And we go straight up to where you cut in the middle. Then you'll do the same thing on the other side. Take your snips from the corner right to the middle, and that will create your banner for you. And then we will attach this to a mat. So we're going to adhere this to our white mat. And I would do this upside down. So I'm going to do this like this so I can line it up to the edge, making sure you have pretty much the same space on either side. And then I just make sure it's nice and level there, and then glue it down. And then we're going to adhere that to the front. Okay, so we have our third card. All right, the fourth card is using the piece that is 5 by 2 3/4. So remember this one, I used the full piece on my mat, but the other one, let me find it for you. We cut it in half. So you have options. You can cut it in half, make it look like that with a little border in between, or you can use it as one piece. So tonight I'm going to use it as one piece again. And I think I'm choosing it to use it as one piece because the pattern is really busy. Whereas the other side of this paper, the pattern is not so busy. It's more plain with just the polka dots. And I think I might cut it in half on that one, just to give it a little more interest. So there's this one. And I am going to hang on to this mat and not adhere this to my card base if I want to stamp a sentiment here. If you want to put a sentiment on, glue a sentiment on, you can glue it down. But if you're going to stamp here at all, wait to glue that down. Okay. And that's card number 4. And then our last 2 pieces. So these pieces have a different orientation than these pieces. So all your cards, if you're doing portrait, your 4 cards will be portrait. This one with these 2 pieces is going to be landscape because your pattern is going this way. Or you can flip them over if you don't like your pattern that's left on those 2 pieces. Like I might not love this because it's cut the birds' heads off. Now we'll use it anyway. Okay, we're going to do it anyway. So what I have done with those, this card, when I did it landscape, I put these 2 pieces at the top and then I cut a piece of cardstock that is the same size, which is 1 by 5, and put that down at the bottom for a sentiment. And then on this one, if I can find it, how do I lose things? It was right here. Here it is. This one, I put them at the bottom, and then I put my little bird at the top with my sentiment at the top. So you can choose which way to do that, at the top or at the bottom. Okay. When I did this with landscape, I cut it landscape, I ended up with two pieces that are portrait. So I put them on the side like that. So just remember that your two pieces that come off of that strip are going to be a different orientation from the other cards that you've made. All right, so we're going to line these up. Which one is going to be on the top? Put this up here. Thanks. I like the landscape with the bird too. I love this paper. These little birds are just super cute. People are going to think something's wrong with this guy, but that's all right. All right, so this one's going to go landscape this way. Oop. If I get it straight, there we go. All right, so that's the last of my cards. And then I will do the same thing with the other side of the paper. We will flip the paper over and we will cut it the same way. And then you'll make 5 cards with this side of the paper. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about sentiments. Tonight, what I did was cut some sentiments. I die cut them. We're not going to talk about die cutting tonight or show die cutting tonight, but I will show you the dies that I used. Episode 3, we might talk about die cutting. So these shapes came from the Stylus Shapes dies that cut out these squares, circles, and these banners. If you decide to invest in a die cutting machine, embossing machine, and some dies, I would suggest getting a really good set that does shapes for you. Something that's got a lot of different shapes so that it gives you some good, some different choices that you can use for sentiments on your cards. So I thought this was a really good basic set to have in my collection. So it cut out these large circles, and then I've got some smaller, a little bit smaller circles. There's a little tiny circle. Then I've got some large banners and some skinny banners, all kinds of banners here. Okay. So you can see that I used the circles with sometimes just a sentiment. Sometimes I stamped. Sometimes I'd fussy cut out of the paper. This one I just stamped. Same with this. And then this one I stamped right on the mat. Okay. All right, so let's go back through the cards and see what we would like to do. I think we're going to use some basic gray ink that matches the card base. This one's going to go this way. And I think what I will do, what I did last time was I stamped right on the mat, but this time I think I'm going to do a little banner here and give it some dimension with some dimensionals. All right, so I'm actually, you know what? What if we put this here? That way it covers up the fact that these birds don't go together. So we can cover up everybody except this little guy peeking out. And I think it looks a little bit more cohesive that way. So let's do that. So we'll stamp on this big circle. I brought 2 sets tonight, which I'm probably going to end up only using one. This one is Simply Said. It's got a lot of nice, simple sentiments. And this one, Sweetly Scripted, that goes all the way across the card. That is what I used for this card here. Okay. All right, so tonight on this one, let's do something large. We'll do the birthday wishes is pretty big. I lost my blocks. There we go. So we'll do birthday wishes. I think I'm just going to go right in the middle. For that one. Then if I wanted to go back and add a die cut or a fussy cut little bird, I could do that. Do I even have dimensionals? Oh, I have to open a whole new pack. Ah, it's nothing better than a new pack of dimensionals. There's been this whole discussion lately about how do you start your dimensionals? Do you go in the middle? Do you go in a row? I just willy-nilly. I'm usually too much of a hurry to do anything neatly. Okay. Okay. Oh, I didn't get that middle one. There we go. So we'll put that right in the middle there. There we go. All right, so card number 2. We've got some options here. We can do a circle, which I think I do like the circles. Or we could do a little circle. That's kind of cute. That's kind of cute. I like that one. All right, let's use the little circle. And we could put, we've got some little sentiments. I don't know if hello will fit in there. Let's see. Oh yeah, they'll fit in there. Your card always looks different the minute that you put a sentiment on it. Sometimes I think, this card's just kind of so-so, but the minute you put a little sentiment on it, it changes the whole thing. So I'm going to just cover up his half a body there. There we go. That's number 2. And then this one, I really did like this one with the banner across, and I also liked it with the circle. But tonight we're going to do the banner because we've used some circles already. So we'll do this one with a banner. And we've got thanks. We can use there. It's stuck. Okay. And then again with some dimensionals. I do like to pop my sentiments up on dimensionals. So it gives your card a little bit more interest. And it's not so flat. There we go. And we've got this one. And we've got lots of choices. We could do a little banner. could do a circle. Let's do a little banner. What have we got left here that we haven't used yet? Just a note. And we'll use that on the big one. We will use maybe hello again on this one. Crooked. There we go. So when I'm stamping to try to make sure that I'm getting it straight, I line my sentiment piece up with my grid paper. So at least I have a shot at stamping it straight. It gives me a 50-50 shot at it. There we go. All right, and this last one has the large piece. So we could use a big, but see, if we use the big thing, it covers up all the cute birds. So I don't even think I want to use a circle. Let's use a little. Let's use a little banner. And maybe we could put it to the side. Oh, we'll put it in the middle. All right, we're going in the middle and we're going to do thanks. Line that up. I think thanks will fit in there. Oh, maybe not. One moment. We are going to need a smaller sentiment. So let me see. This thank you in this font, I think will fit nicely. Yeah, much better. So we'll ink that up. And we'll do that, thank you. Oh my goodness. I had two there. No wonder he was curling up. All right, I'm not crazy about it. I'm going to do it again. The paper's curling up. That's better. This is not bad, but this is better. Okay, so we'll put some dimensionals on here. A little bit longer. He needs 3. Try to, if you're using dimensionals, to space them out so you don't get an area of your sentiment piece that's going to sag in the middle. Okay, so that's my 5 cards. And then tonight, when I finish the other 5, I will put them up on my Facebook page so you can see the ones that I create with the other side of the paper. That's this polka dot. Okay, so here's our 5 cards. How did you guys do? Did you put 5 cards together while we were talking here? There we go. All right, so that's one set that we just did. Here's the other set that we talked about with the paper with the bird cages. And then here's the set with the paper with the feathers. And then I don't know if I showed you this whole set that I created. So this was when I was just playing around to figure out the template. I made it with this paper with these kites. These birds are called kites. So this one I stamped right here on the mat. This was the full piece. This was the 2 pieces side by side. This was the banner piece going sideways or landscape. And then this one is where, and I cut this in half this time. So I made 4 sets. I'll have 5 sets by the time I'm done here. So hopefully you liked this template and you come up with some nice cards. I can't wait to see what papers you've chosen and what your cards are going to look like. All right. Let's go back over here. There we go. Oh, my mouse. There we go. Okay, so we're back. All right. Well, hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Thanks so much for watching. I think I covered everything. I wanted to cover tonight. So I was going to, in order to encourage you to share your cards, which I am hoping that you will, you can go to my Facebook page, which is This Must Be Ink, or you can go to my our group page, which is called Crafty Kraken Create, and share your cards. Just take a picture of the ones that you made and put it up there. And I am going to give a prize to somebody randomly. I will pick a name. So you have a month to put your cards up there. So if you create some cards, put them up there. And then next month, before my next episode of Stamp and Flip, I will pick a winner and I will have a prize for you guys. So the next Stamp and Flip is the 3rd week in March, which is going to be third Wednesday in March is going to be the 19th. Oh, that's right. So February and March, it was very interesting, are like the same month this year. All the dates are the same. So the 3rd Wednesday of March will also be the 19th. So I will see you back here next month for another template and another Stamp and Flip episode. I look forward to seeing your cards. Everybody have the great rest of your week, and I will see you on Friday. Okay? Stay crafty, my friends.